Oop, wait, I can't do that. That's copyrighted music. But anyway, you know things have sunk pretty low when you see the type of things that I saw today. The country has sunken pretty low, but that's people are looking at me weird. That's not nice. But anyway, things actually sunk pretty low because I was in the Twilight zone today. That's right. It's a Twilight neighbor. Cincinnati is now the area's biggest Twilight town. But that's no surprise because that's a problem all over America. Not just in rich suburbs anymore, but even in central cities like Cincinnati. See, and what it is, that means that people are forced out of a neighborhood, or sometimes even a whole town, just because of their economic group. It's happened to me in lots of suburbs around here. But Cincinnati has parts that are like that too. Like for instance, today I was on Stein's place. That's right. The last time I was up here a few months ago, I noticed it had a sign saying it was a private street, but it isn't. It isn't a private street. I knew it back then, and I confirmed it. I mean, I just say the gut feeling it was true, but I confirmed it because I went on the internet. I went on the old internets, where... what's that word that Sarah Palin made up recently? Something like... I don't know, but I know Bush made up internets, but I went on the internets, and that was... and I didn't check the local Hamilton County property records. Found out that confirms that it is indeed a public street. So there's a sign on Stein's place that says private street, even though it's public. So today I went up there, I was going to check the abandoned portion. And when I got there, I noticed there's this SUV idling right at the end of the street, right at the entrance to the street there. There's an SUV idling, and it had an out-of-county suburban plate from some Republican suburban county. But nobody was confronting them about... Nobody was confronting the suburbanite and SUV idling, polluting the air and wasting gas, and actually blocking a street. They were blocking across this one portion of the street that goes up a hill there, or it did. There's like a little stub of a street there. They were blocking it completely. So I went along. I biked around the block, went up, and then finally it was gone. But see, nobody confronted them. So I went, even though I went the same stub of street that they were blocking. So I chained the bike up to like a post or something, and I walked up in the street, up through the woods, up through where the abandoned street was. Because there's this abandoned street that curves around and goes up to Columbia Parkway. And I walked up through there. Of course, I tore my arm all up. Because there's like bushes with like porcupine quills on them or something. But anyway, I go up there and it's like, well, I went up there and let's see, and I explored for just, I was only up there a few minutes. Came back down. There was it was like a whole group of residents of the so-called private street, and maybe even in a neighboring street that wasn't even marked as private. There's like two at least two people waiting for me. There was waiting for me, just waiting to confront me about it. And so, anyway. There's people trying to confront me about it. There's some woman, and there's some guy, a younger guy. He comes out and he's like, "What are you up there for?" And I'm like, "Well, I was just exploring to see what was up there." He says, "It's a little bit weird that people would walk around up there." And how is it weird to walk around on public property? Can somebody tell me that? How is it weird to walk around even though it's an abandoned street, it's still a public right of way. So it's not. How is it weird? It's a little bit weird to. Don't you think it's a little bit weird to be walking around through there? No, it isn't, because it's public. That's all it's If it's weird to be on public property, then call me Michael Jackson. That's how weird I am. And he's like, "Why were you up there? Why were you back there?" Listen, and the truth is, and I told him, I just wanted to see what was back there. I think what's weird is having all these abandoned streets. Is the city trying to hide something by abandoning all these streets? I mean, is there something to hide? Why is there so many abandoned streets in Cincinnati? Is the city trying to hide something? But now the thing is, the real reason why I was back there is because I'm an American. I have a right to be on public thoroughfares that are publicly supported. I am an American, and I will exercise my rights as an American. So that's why I was back there. It's a free country. I will go wherever I want. I'm an adult. I will do as I want. I do not need permission from some person with more money than me who lives on a street that's marked as private, even though it's public. You don't get to. And the thing is, I wasn't even on the part that was marked as private. And the thing is, I know it was public anyway because I already checked the property records. I checked that stuff on the internet. It's in plain sight. There's a Hamilton County site that shows maps of Hamilton County. There's actually more than one. There's more than one site like this. There's one that shows the old Hamilton County recorder, like the county recorder has like a. You know how like they have like a recorder county office, and I'm sure their records indicate it too. But I checked the other site that has the newer maps, that has the electronic maps that you can check. And I was on public property, and I'm an American, and because I'm an American, I will use public property. It is my right. I don't care what somebody if somebody thinks that. And for another thing, I mean, I was the person who was blocking with the SUV wasn't confronted, but I was. So that right there is discrimination. So I don't care what if somebody who has more money than me tries to keep me off of a public right of way, I'm not going to tolerate it. And what's amazing, this happens in Cincinnati, and it's not surprising because that's been the trend in this country for the past 30 years. So it's not surprising, even in a central city. So these days people have to watch what they do and where they go. We're living in the Twilight Zone.